The president and his energy team are closely watching the markets, speaking with industry leaders, and the U.S. military is drawing up additional options following the president's directive to continue keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. The recent increase in oil and gas prices is temporary, and this operation will result in lower gas prices in the long term. Once the national security objectives of Operation Epic Fury are fully achieved, Americans will see oil and gas prices drop rapidly, potentially even lower than they were prior to the start of the operation.
All right, here we go. The White House trying to calm fears about higher gas prices of the cost of taking a sharp dive, by the way, after President Trump said the war with Iran could end very soon. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum joins us now. Mr. Secretary, there's a lot. I'm reading the New York Times today, and they're claiming that you guys were caught by surprise that the price of oil went up. Is that true?
Completely fake news there, obviously. But one thing I would say with President Trump, who's been focused on bringing prices down since the day he took office, affordability has been a central part of this, inheriting these high prices across the board. But whether it's energy prices, prescription drugs, this entire administration has been focused on driving down prices. And the way you do that is with supply up. And of course, under President Trump, U.S. now #1 oil producer in the world, #1 LNG producer and exporter in the world. American citizens need to know that U.S. energy, we've never been in a more dominant or secure position in the history of the country than we are right now with President Trump.
So we, as you know better than anybody else, it's a global market. So we could be producing more or other areas producing more. It all goes into one vat where we get the prices from. So if the Strait of Hormuz presents a challenge, what could you do to circumvent that challenge?
Well, there's lots of things that can be done, but I think what the world needs to understand is, this terrorist regime began 47 years ago by literally taking U.S. hostages. And then here they are 47 years later, slaughtering their own people in the streets and then holding the entire world hostage economically by threatening to close the strait. And of course, President Trump has made it very clear the consequences if they try to do that. And there's a lot of options between ourselves and our allies in the region, including our Arab friends in the region, to make sure that those straits keep open and that energy keeps flowing for the global economy. And again, goal here, eliminate this terrorist regime. That, as Carolyn said in the opening piece there, everything she said, 100% accurate, will bring prices down permanently with peace and stability in the world. President Trump's going to make sure that happens.
How do you feel about the Iranians targeting the refineries of Qatar and the UAE and Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think it shows that they're losing. It shows desperation that they would do that. And on the flip side, back here yesterday, President Trump and this administration announcing the largest investment in U.S. refining in decades and decades coming, the American First Refining opening up in Brownsville, Texas, a $300 billion project, the most modern, effective refinery built in the U.S. in a long, long time. And of course, that plus the combination of the brilliant strategy of turning Venezuela from a sanctioned adversary 2 months ago now into a strategic ally, bringing that in tremendous supply to the Gulf of America coast refineries, including the new American First Refinery, is going to bring down gasoline, diesel prices for Americans for a long time to come. President Trump firing on all cylinders, as is our amazing military.
And he's also counted on you guys to do the same thing. And here's the official announcement he put on Truth Social. America First Refining is opening up the first new U.S. oil refinery in 50 years. It's an historic $300 billion deal. The Wall Street Journal reports today that the International Energy Agency, of which the U.S. is a part of, is proposing the largest ever release of oil reserves to bring down crude prices. I know we don't want to tap ours, but should they tap theirs?
Well, certainly these are the kinds of moments that these reserves are used for, because what we have here is not a shortage of energy in the world. We've got a transit problem, which is temporary. And when you have a temporary transit problem that we're resolving militarily and diplomatically, which we can resolve and will resolve, this is the perfect time to think about releasing some of those to take some pressure off of the global price. But again, as you've seen, President Trump's leadership itself is helping to keep prices down all over the world right now.
So right now, a barrel of oil as of Tuesday closed $87.80, down from $120. Where do you think it's going, and which causing the average American $3.54? Gavin Newsom came out and says that you guys are responsible for the fact that his gas is over $7 a gallon. What do you say to him?
Well, wow, that is something coming from California because, of course, under Gavin Newsom, California used to have 40 refineries. Now they have 8. 2 more are closing. They're going to be down to 6 with Chevron and Valero closing. California is the most energy-dependent state in America. 63% of their oil gets imported. Now they're going to be importing refined product into San Francisco Bay and into Long Beach every day just to keep their fleet. They have the largest number of internal combustion cars in America in California, and more than any other state even has vehicles. And, of course, they've been trying to eliminate those and doing that, which then puts us dependent on China. Right. I mean, their energy policies are as crazy as Europe, and part of the reason why their prices are so high is they've restricted supply and killed their own economy. And
so, Mr. Secretary, I know you have a lot of context. You also help in energy too. When these Gulf states know their refineries being targeted and and the oil storage being targeted, what do you say to our Gulf state allies at this time? What's your advice to them?
Well, I think our Gulf state allies have never been happier than they have now to have U.S. military presence in their country and to have a strong relationship, both economically and in terms of energy industry with the United States. They understand, who supports them and who supports their growth and prosperity, and they're starting to realize that the terror regime of Iran has to end. And again, this is a historic time. I mean, the Abraham Accords have an opportunity to flourish coming out of the backside of this thing. We could see, again, the short-term interruption traded for long-term transformation of peace and prosperity. And again, when that happens, energy prices are going to come down all over the world. And so again, President Trump leading the way with personal relationships with those Arab country leaders that put us in a strong position right now like we've never been in before.
And Mr. Secretary, this isn't creating a problem. This is addressing a problem. And every one of those states knew Iran was the problem. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.